My name is Kayte Barton. I live in Minnesota. My passion for research has grown into researching ways that people with intellectual disabilities can access obesity care, which has led to some really cool things. One is writing legislation here in Minnesota to help us access obesity care. Starting next week, I am meeting with people on the Health and Finance Committees in the House to get those going, which is the next step before hearings. I also am working on other projects related to obesity. I'm working federally to help the Treat and Reduce Obesity Act include language for people with intellectual disabilities. The Treat and Reduce Obesity Act is legislation saying that Medicare will pay for behavior therapy medication for obesity. But right now it's written so it only looks like it's for seniors. But as we all know, people with intellectual disabilities also receive Medicare.
When I was doing a quick little Google search of we're also featured on a podcast, a Minnesota NPR podcast. Can you speak about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to do a podcast on people with intellectual disabilities and aging. As I have gotten older and realized that I couldn't participate in sports and Special Olympics, I needed to put that energy elsewhere, which has led to me being more active in the leadership side of things and the health sides. And I also told them that people with intellectual disabilities need to also be included in research when it comes to aging, because we're not a population that's thought of when it comes to aging.
Right, which was a big part of our Ready curriculum, talking about research engagement. And in our emails, you kind of talked about how being a part of Ready and getting involved with research really has shown this passion and this leadership, and that is an important value for you and how you're not going to stop. Can you talk a little bit about, where you find this motivation or passion or whatever word you like to use, but this motivation to do research and to talk about the research that you're doing?
I guess it's helping others who can't use their voices to speak up, to get the help that they need. Mm-hmm. I'm capable of speaking up for myself, but there's others who cannot do that. So as an advocate, that kind of has become my driving force.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so cool. So how do you find these opportunities? We talked about the Minnesota legislation you're working on, featuring on a podcast. You were one of our co-authors on a manuscript that is still in the publication process about health care and health narratives, which will be published this year. So how do you find these opportunities to be involved with research and different projects?
Some of them just kind of fall into my lap. Or sometimes I go hunting for them. Or like legislation, I created it myself.
So a little bit of kind of finding your own passion or finding your own line, and then how that branches off. And then also, it kind of sounds like you're saying taking one step can lead to a lot of next steps.
Taking one step forward in a direction of creating something myself can lead down the road to other things. Once people figure out what I'm doing, and it opens other doors for other areas.
So what advice would you give to someone who maybe is fearful or hesitant of taking that step and wants to get involved, but maybe is nervous or anxious about taking that first step? What advice would you give to them?
It's okay. Find somebody that you can trust to ask for help. If you don't know what direction to go, or if you need help with figuring out what you need, Um, I have a great mentor through Special Olympics who has been alongside me along this journey, who has kind of been my sounding board as I've gotten into it. Kind of keeps me on straight and narrow, or otherwise my brain will go off in 10 different directions.
Me too, Kate. Me too. So I heard you say mentorship. So you had a mentor through Special Olympics. What advice would you give to someone who also wants to find a mentor to kind of help them navigate? Any tips or tricks for finding a mentor?
It can be a friend, it could be a family member, somebody that you know that will help you achieve your goals and will help you when you work towards that goal of achieving what you're trying to do.
Great. That's great advice.
Yeah, I had something to, Kate, I was just wondering, you said you had a mentor through Special Olympics, and I'm assuming that you have kind of a supporting cast around you, whether that's family, friends, people that you've met through Special Olympics. I'm just wondering, have you been in direct contact with some of your state representatives, some of the state government officials as you've helped create legislation advocating for people with intellectual disabilities?
Yes. I talked to my state senator and representative last spring, and just last Friday we talked to the representative again, and I was connected, this one just kind of fell in my lap, with another representative last Friday as well. Monday I am starting to talk to the Health and Finance Committee members here in Minnesota. We have like a week's worth of meetings coming.
You're a very busy person, Kate. That's awesome. What has your experience been like talking with representatives?
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool sharing your story, because once I told them about people with intellectual disabilities and obesity, they weren't aware of it. And so they wanted to do all they could to help change it.
Yeah, that's super
It's
reassuring.
It's kind of a hidden issue that a lot of people are aware of.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important part about advocating and advocacy, that it is advocating for change and changes, but sometimes the first step in advocacy is to bring awareness. What is your favorite part about doing research or being involved with research and making change?
I guess seeing the changes that come from it, seeing the things that come out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And I guess, what is the most challenging part about being a part of research?
Being patient and waiting for the changes to happen.
I agree. As I'm, part of our research article we did last summer or fall, and it's a long process, and that can be really tiring. And it feels like there's barriers, but it's so important to stay strong and to have mentors, but also have, strong advocates that are relentless, I think is a really good word to describe, that process of being relentless. Kate, what are you most proud of?
I guess what I've accomplished and the things that I have done. There have been many people that have said that I wouldn't be able to accomplish much, but I've kind of proven them wrong.
That's awesome. Any new goals or new things that you want to work on in 2022 or in 2023, or what's next for Kate?
I have a goal to change the food stamps online shopping. I don't know what it is, options, because right now there are only two here across the United States, but with somebody with limited transportation, it makes it hard to access it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Cool.
I am trying to figure out ways to change it.
Great. It sounds like you are so passionate, and Minnesota is lucky to have an advocate like you.